You're not supposed to be in the cafeteria. You're supposed to be at your homeroom eating your lunch, and they will bring it there. So as I was walking in very late, it was around the end of lunchtime. There was two students, and they were talking about something back to back inside of the cafeteria. Then one of them gave the other student something, and they both walked out, and neither one of them saw me because I hid. I hid behind the door, and I seen that they were passing each other's the teachers' keys to the cars, and after school they were found missing and so was the teacher's car, and the teacher didn't know what happened. So I went to the principal office and I told them what I seen, and I heard them say that they were going to be heading off to see their girlfriends all the way northeast. Mind you, this was hours away. So at this time, we're in California and they're going to northeast of Philadelphia. So while they're doing this, so the teachers told me why didn't I say nothing before, and I said I didn't know that that's where they were going until I found out, and I didn't know that's where they were looking for that whole time. So they went to go find the two students, and the two students were found dead by their two girlfriends. And that's the end of my story, and it ended just like that.
So my story time. So once I was at school and these people came up to me and they were like, "Oh my goodness, so why were you talking to this girl like this?" And I was like, "Who?" And they was like, "The girl with the blonde hair." What girl with the blonde hair? Cause I ain't never talked to no blonde headed girl. So then they was like, "Oh, maybe not you then." So I was all confused, wondering like, okay. So then I went over to my class, to my art class, and then I saw those same exact people and same exact person, but this time she had two different people. And she was like all confused, all scared, like, "Oh my gosh, we need to evacuate the school." I didn't hear no fire alarm or anything, but so I just followed her to the principal's office, and then the principal escorted all of us out of the school. So I just was all confused. So the school bell was called the school fire alarm was called after we already left out. So I was like, what happened? I know everybody came out. So someone had went back in. They didn't come out until it was time for everybody to leave the school. They came out at 4, and mind you, that we get out of school at 3 o'clock. So I was very confused, and I heard it when I came to school the next day. And our principal would go to the school. The principal told us after school she would go and check in the school, make sure no one was able to get into the school. But she would always say that nobody was ever able to get in, but there was always a different mess in her office. So they still didn't figure that out, but yeah, so that's the end of my story.
Okay, you want to do the story together?
Yes.
So what we're going to make the story about? Another story time we're going to be doing together. So, it was this one time we both went to the park.
And we had went with with my aunt and her grandmom. My aunt has her grandmom. But anyways, Yeah, we had went and we saw this person.
And they were following us. And my grandma, aka her aunt, they was legit. She was sitting down, and she went to go get us something from the corner store because it was hot at this time, and someone was following us.
So, like, while we were going to the swings, we kept seeing the person on the other side of the park.
Or maybe, like, sneaking behind us, behind the trees. And, mind you, we didn't know who this person was.
So then we just ran to the corner store, like,
looking for my grandma and her aunt.
And we were looking for her in the whole entire store, but
and it's a really small store, and we couldn't find her.
So then we just went back to the park. We saw her with the person, and then they were like, "Oh my God, these kids were disrespecting me." And we was like, "We don't even know this person. Like, why would we disrespect?"
What were we doing to disrespect them when they was following us? And then they told my grandma.
So she had already went back. I mean, we guessed that they told her to come over, but by the time she was already out by the park, we were still in there looking for her.
She couldn't find us. And suddenly she ran into that person who was following us, and they didn't give her a lot of information where we were.
Anyways, so we were on our way home and we saw this black car. The windows were tinted and everything. So they pulled up.
And mind you, no one on our block had tinted windows.
And they pulled up in the back of the block behind us. So then we just kept driving.
Right along with her grandma in the car.
Yes, and she was all scared. She was about to.
We told her to go around the corner. If they followed us yet again, call my uncle, aka her cousin, and tell him to come outside and try to catch the car.
Yes.
While we were spinning around the block, so he could come out in time.
So he took a couple of minutes, but then we just were right, like, on the other side of the block. Like, we were near where our backyard was, and we had never came from that way before.
Ever.
So
we were waiting, and we were standing there in the car, and that same black car pulled up behind us, and the window rolled straight down, and my grandma just kept driving. She called legit everybody in that house full of, I believe it's 9 of us, right?
Yeah, it would be 9.
Yeah, full of all
no,
of them.
8 actually.
Yeah, 8, and then
10.
Yeah, they came out, and after they came out, it was my 2 twin aunts, my 2 uncles, my
mom would be
my aunt, which is your mom.
Mhm. And yeah.
And it was the baby and everybody else who was in the house.
My mom didn't really want to come all the way outside,
so
because she had her baby, the baby, and she wanted to make sure her baby was okay. So she just stayed downstairs
and had the others come out while she made sure they was okay.
Okay, so yeah, and then
we were all scared, and we pulled around and we stopped in front of the house so that the person who was in the black car could get out while we got out.
And yes, that was a dangerous idea, but then we tricked them into thinking that we were going to get all the way out. We hopped right back in and went like
backwards, kind of.
Yeah, and then we were going to go to a Walmart near us or something like that, just a quick little store.
so we can get some stuff for the baby and some food for dinner.
And then, yeah, they stopped following us because they didn't want to be seen around a lot of people. So we guess they stayed by the house because they were standing in front of the door.
But when we came back, they were not to be seen. And it seemed like they were watching us after we went back in the house, because then we started hearing windows trying to break, doors trying to be opened, and people giving a lot of warnings about people breaking into us.
So we just